Hello and welcome to the Learning Lounge. My name is Gabbie. I am a senior studying communications and I will be your host. We are a group of five students who share one belief that education is a fundamental human right and the driver of sustainable development. Yet, there are children locally and globally who still lack access to inclusive, equitable, and quality education. This is the core philosophy of the United Nations Sustainability Development Goal, quality education. Um, this group seeks to address this goal through creative conversation. Um, this group seeks to address the issues on a local level in the Hillsborough County area and the Tampa area through interviews and conversations amongst ourselves, and I will give my peers a second to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
I'm Tyson.
Hi, I'm Tembria.
Hi, Abdul-Rasheed.
Now we want to get into why quality education matters to us and what led us to gather here today. So for me, quality educations matter very personally to me because since high school, I've been advocating for my peers in Broward County for not only their own education, but also higher education for them. Um, I believe that education is the key to solving most issues in the world, and I think that starts at quality. And that doesn't also just start with the student, but it also starts with the teachers, with equitable and affordable pay, and also getting involved with teachers and parents and building a strong relationship with them together. So that is why quality education really matters to me.
Hi. For me, for why quality education matters, is that it really is kind of the forefront of everything. Like you also learn basic skills, like with math and learning language and just basic communication skills. And then as you grow older, you kind of learn more about the community and the world. And then I just think it's really important because it also opens your mind to other cultures since you're going to be most likely knowing people with different ethnic backgrounds. And I think that's really important when you go to school because not only you learn through like the curriculum, but you also learn around the people around you.
Education has always been important to me, and not just me, but my family as well. I come from a long line of teachers in my family. My grandma, my mom, and my sister is now a teacher. So I've always been taught about how important education is, not to just me, but the whole world. Um, I think it's very important. I think quality education is important because that's how the world keeps progressing. If you learn how to read and write, that's the most important thing to start off with. And from there, you just keep learning, and more education can lead to a better world.
I would say quality education matters to me because growing up, I didn't see a lot of people in the neighborhood or like me go to college. I didn't know that that was an option. It took me to leave and join the military for them to show me that I can. There are ways to go to school. Now that I have a son, I want him to know that he's able to get the education he needs that's actually required in this world to be successful or get a job that allows him to be financially free.
Hi, Abdul-Rasheed. You guys won't believe if I tell you I'm the first graduate in my family. That's why education is so important. Quality education. I grew up, I didn't see my parents go to school. My mom didn't go to school. My uncles. So I paved the way for my little brothers. Now they're looking up to me, thinking that yeah, their big brother has graduated in college. So I'm the first graduate in our family, and that's why education is so important to me.
That's so great. Within the UN Sustainability and Development Goals, we each have specific targets and indicators. For example, Target 4.2 says that by 2030, they want to ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality early childhood development. care and pre-primary education so that they're ready for primary education. So right now, I want each of us to talk about which target and what indicators might mean specifically a lot to them. So for me, target 4B, which is a pretty big mouthful, but to sum it up, it essentially says that they want to expand sustainability and quality education to a lot of developing countries and states in African countries for higher enrollment rates in higher education, including vocational training and information and communication technology. And so for me, this goal means a lot because as someone who descends from a Haitian immigrant, education was always taught to me as something to be proud of and also something to be appreciative of. It is a luxury that a lot of Americans take for granted. And although I grew up in America and I grew up in an American household, American lifestyle, I will never forget the privilege and appreciation for my ancestors for creating the opportunity for me to get a quality education and be a first generation student. So, thinking about where we came from and what significance education and quality education means to us, I want to talk a little bit about like where did we all come from and what was our schools like. I'm not sure if we're all from the Tampa area or even Hillsborough County. I know I'm from Broward County and the school system was a little bit different. Um, for me, my schools were predominantly Hispanic and Black students, and I went to school in middle class areas that were being slowly gentrified as I went through K through 12. By the time I graduated high school, my city has been completely rebuilt and most of the lower income communities were driven out. And that also was shown in the schools. They received certain funding to completely revamp the school and completely revamp the education system. But the students like me kind of received somewhat mediocre um, when it came to like mm, materials and also the furniture. That's the word I was looking for. Um,
So my experience in education is a little bit similar to yours, Gabby. I grew up in Rochester, New York, which is upstate, uh, next to the lake, I guess. I went to school in predominantly with Black and Hispanic communities. And so, of course, being Asian, there wasn't really a lot of us there, and so we were very outcasted. I remember in elementary school, they made all of the Hispanic and the Asians to take a English learning class, although English is my first language. So yeah, that kind of took away the time of learning basic subjects like math and social studies and science because I had to learn English. And as you can see, I feel like I speak English pretty well.
so they basically assumed that
Yes, so they assumed like any person that looked Asian or Hispanic was just in this class for at least 2 hours of our day for the entire K through like 6 thing. Yeah, so it was crazy.
And
then-
that wasn't like a literature or English class, like a
It
regular
wasn't.
one, or
It
was like,
wasn't. It was just learning how to say words.
oh wow,
Even
okay.
though we all knew how to say
Mhm.
words.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyways, so I did go to a very small academy for middle school and high school, and so we didn't have access to a lot of materials. I know in my high school we didn't have a gym, we didn't have a library or an art room.
Mm.
Same with middle school, and I remember each grade they would give us like 2 full pages of supplies that were mandatory to bring because we weren't the school wasn't getting enough funding. And then I know that after I graduated high school, that was when those things that we didn't have were built into the school. So I mean, I'm happy that newer students could have access to the things that we didn't, but I just kind of wish like my educational experience was just a little bit better.
So I'm from the east coast of Florida. I live in Brevard County. Um, my middle school was predominantly Hispanic and Black. Um, and then as I got to high school, I had a really big high school, and it was very diverse. Um, I was very fortunate for my high school. It was a pretty nice high school, and they always provided us with what we needed. Personally, I had a great support system. I had a great family and parents that were able to provide for me and get what I needed for school. But there was times where I did see or have friends that were families did struggle financially. That was tough to see because they weren't ready for school and didn't have what they needed. Um, but I feel like one thing that I think would make education better, especially starting in high school, is just having better advisors. I feel like the advisors aren't, they may be qualified, but they don't help as much as they should. So I think the advisors need to have a better or bigger and better impact starting in high school and continuing in college, because I have also had some struggles and problems with advisors in college, telling me I need a class, but I really don't need it, and just point me in the wrong direction. So, Tembria.
I grew up in, well, I'm from Mississippi. So my introduction into Florida or Jacksonville, I remember being in kindergarten, and I know this because she traumatized me. The way I spoke was really country. And every day it was like the teacher tried to beat the country out of me. She would isolate me, I mean, like sit me in the hallway for no reason. I wrote her an email, by the way, because teachers should care more about the students. Like, you're impacting our lives. So my mom attempted to give me a better life, I guess. So she put me in an elementary school that was predominantly white. So I remember in the fourth grade, I went home crying because none of the students were like me, nobody understood me, and I didn't feel like going to that school anymore. So I didn't really care about the education. It wasn't until I got to middle high school where I seen more students that looked like me. But even then, the school was by the police station. I remember there would be days we would have random checks with the canine units, and they would go sniffing the lockers. That was in 2016, but fast forward to today, that same school is now predominantly white, and I guarantee there are no dogs being sniffing around. So it's just like, for education, I feel like finances is one thing, but we need to address the support and the stigmas around schooling, and teachers just need to care a little more. That's that's my experience. What about you?
Yeah, I had a lot of experience growing up in middle school and high school. I remember one of my teacher told me that I'm not gonna pass her class. That was really touching. I had to call my mom and talk to my mom. Hey, I'm stopping school because one of the teachers said I'm not gonna pass her class. Definitely, she's gonna fail you even if you pass in the class. So that was the hardship going to school. I went to Islamic school. I'm from Ghana, Accra. I'm based in Tampa right now, doing track and field. And then all my education came from track and field because I stopped school in high school first year because I had problems with kids where I went to high school. They speak their local language, and I came from the city, so they don't like the way I'm commanding the class. Every time I'm giving them English, say why they always speak their own language. I don't understand. I feel like they're talking stuffs about me, but times goes on. I was like, nah, I had to take this language class, so I had to take tree is called tree. So I take the class. I end up speaking it with them, and it was nice. But after I stopped college, I stopped high school. It was track that brought me back. My mom influenced me so bad to go back to school. I got scholarship in high school again. Then I dominate in high school sport, and that was how I got scholarship to University of Ghana, University of Ghana to FMU in Miami, Miami to USF. So that's how my education. So I know education like supposed to be very important in the system. Like even our parents can influence us through education, even they don't go to school, still they can play a big impact in our lives. Yeah.
Do you think your experience with the education system would have been different if you weren't an athlete?
Oh yeah, totally different because I would have concentrated more in academics than sport. Now I'm doing 50-50 track and school, and track is taking a lot of my time. Even right now, after I get done this, I'm going to weight room to join the team with lift. So it's just back and forth. And today is my busy day. Every Monday, Tuesday, I'm busy, and next week we'll be flying out to Jacksonville to NCAA first round. Yeah.
Hopefully you can make it.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can get your input.
So I wanted to come back to both your answer to Mia and Tyson. Um, I really appreciate that, despite the fact that you didn't, Tyson, you didn't have a shared experience with some of the students that you're emphasizing for, but you're still able to show empathy for them and recognize the problems systematically. And I heavily agree that having support systems is the key to fostering student success. Um, Personally, at my school, um, we had like school counselors, and then we also had our college and career advisor, which in Broward they're called brace advisors. And at my school in the county, they have something called a brace cadet program, which essentially is kind of like a peer mentorship program where all of the county leaders in college and career readiness will train a group of students in all of that has to do with college and preparing for a career. And I was in that program, and that actually inspired me to pursue higher education as strongly as I did in high school, and to become a school counselor and an academic advisor, which is what I'm pursuing now. But I think, at least for my high school, as a brace cadet, we had to do projects and whole. During that time, it was during the pandemic, so my project was all online, and the students heavily relied on like me and my other, I wouldn't call them coworkers, but I'm just going to refer to them as brace peers, brace cadet peers. But all of us, there was, I believe, 5 of us, and we all had our specific projects focused on college and career readiness. Mine was focused on college applications. And there were a lot of students who attended my workshops who did not have a clue on how they're going to write their um, statements for applications, or gather letters of recommendations, or even create the resume for the college application or jobs. That's something that I worked on with them. And I think there was definitely a lot of responsibility put on me. And I worked really closely with my brace advisor, and she relied heavily on her students. That was kind of her thing. She called us like her superstars. But um, you know, even though it wasn't something that like put me down, I think it is a really great program, but I also think there needs to be more support and more initiatives from the actual person who went to college and got a degree to do this, not students. It is a great program, but I wish that my race advisor kind of provided a little bit more support for me, and also made her own initiatives, not just, she just tells me, hey, do your thing, and that's it. Like, she basically just served as a write off for the rooms that we rented, and any service hours that I was giving away or getting for myself. She signed off of them, but she didn't really create any projects for herself. And I wish that was something that I saw from her, because I think when I begin to implement something similar whatever high school I work at, I do think working with students and having a peer mentorship program is really great, and it definitely creates a trust system between student to student. But I also think it matters to supplement that with teacher or advisor to student relationships as well, not just student to student. And you're getting all your advice, all your knowledge from a student. Um, Already, I'm really glad that we all had to talk about our experiences, and now the audience has an idea of where all of us came from and also what type of experiences we had. I'm really, really happy that this group is super diverse. Like, I'm really, really pleased with that. So there's a lot of different perspectives that are going to be coming. In next segment, we will be interviewing someone who I wouldn't say I know personally, but who I really respect and admire personally, because this was a former professor of mine. He taught, I believe it was global education and diversity. The words might be swapped, but it's global education and diversity is somewhere in there. But this was back in freshman year when my major was education. I'm super excited to interview him. Right now, he is assistant research professor in the Institute of School Community Partnership. And as you know, he has taught both undergraduate and graduate level courses that focus on critical thinking and global education. So I'm really excited for you guys to see what he knows, and also for us to ask him some great questions about quality education in the K through 12 grades, and also kind of get a chance to catch up with my former professor. So get excited for that next segment, and we will catch you guys later.
See you. Bye.